This is a Freightliner M2 water truck. It's made by First Gear. It's in 1/34 scale. Now this truck is for United Rentals. For those that don't know, every year United Rentals will put out some type of diecast model as part of their collector series. You know, they sell it around the holidays, and they've been doing it for maybe 15, maybe 20 years, a pretty good while. And they're usually nice models. Sometimes they're not that great, but this year they did a really good job. This is the 2017 model, and all their models are, if you went to United Rentals and said I needed this or that's what they base their the collector models on, is things that you can actually rent from United Rentals. Like if you went there and said I need a water truck, this is probably what you would get. Which is really nice. It's a great promotional item for them, and there are a lot of guys that really do collect these things and have every single one. Like I said, they're usually pretty nice models. This is a typical First Gear truck. It's got a nice weight to it. It looks great sitting on the shelf. It's got a lot of little finer details to it, which is nice. But there's some things that aren't so great. Like the hood doesn't open up, the doors don't open up. The windows are down, and if you look in there, you can see there's no stick because the truck is an automatic, which is pretty nice. It makes sense. If you have a rental water truck, it's probably going to be beneficial to have it as an automatic. As far as the truck itself goes, like I said, just sitting on the shelf, it looks pretty good. It's got steel wheels, and you can see the individual lug nuts on there, which is pretty nice. I always like to see steel wheels on these like vocational trucks, construction trucks, because you're not going to spend a whole lot of money on these trucks it's never going to be a show truck or anything like that. So it makes sense to have the steel wheels on it. Really though, it's really pretty nice for a water truck. As far as the water body goes, it's a Curry Supply water body, and it's pretty nice. You got the warning label there, or I guess information label. I don't know what kind of warning label you really need on a water truck. It's probably a notice to drain all the valves in the wintertime or something like that. Who knows? If you look underneath, you can see it's got pretty much all the piping there for the pump, which is really cool. I mean, you can see the lines coming out of the tank. You got the PTO here and the line that goes to the pump there. It's got everything. It's just really surprising that they would have gone so far as to detailing all of the water lines. And if you look closely, it's kind of hard to see. On the shutoff valves here, you can see the individual positions that you can adjust the valves to. So if your water pump is, it basically runs off the throttle, you could adjust your valves so that you can restrict the flow from the pump. So if you're putting out too much water too fast, you can close that valve like a quarter of the way or maybe halfway, and your water will last a lot longer and you don't quite put out as much. Anyways, it's really nice that you can see that. I mean, sitting on the shelf, you'd never notice it, but it's still a pretty cool detail. On the front, you have the bumper sprays, which is cool. You have one side spray or fan nozzle, whatever that's called, on the side there. You only have one on the side. There's nothing over here. And then on the rear, you have those the rear sprays, and you also have a hose reel as well. If you look on the back next to the ladder, you have your fill line with, again, you have a valve down here. And the reason why there's a valve down here, when you hook the water truck up, when you're filling the tank off of like a fire hydrant or whatever, your water is coming up here, up the pipe, and into the top here. And side note, you can see the screen over top of the fill hole, which is pretty neat. Again, that's something sitting on the shelf you'd never noticed, but it's there. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, going back to what I was saying, you have this valve down here because as you're putting water in the truck, when you shut the water off and you go to disconnect the hose here, you have all this water that is going to come flying out of this line as soon as you take the hose off. So that's why the valve is there. So you can shut the valve, disconnect the hose, then you can crack that open and you don't get soaked disconnecting the hose. So it's really cool that they would have included that as such a minute, just fine detail that's there. And that's one of the great things about these first gear trucks is you have those kind of things, you know, on these trucks. Little things like that. It's just it's really cool. Anyway, that's it for this. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to ask. If you'd like to see more of what we have, please subscribe to Maryland Construction Diecast. And as always, thanks for watching.